Hi, I'm Marcio from Objects. Have you ever heard of FlowScoping.java? That's what we will discuss in this video. If you're using a modern JDK, more specifically JDK 16 or later, then you can use pattern matching for instanceof. A good use case is for writing equals method. For example, suppose we have this article class, which could represent a blog article. It has a title and a date. And so what it does is, first we check, we check that the other object is an instance of article. If the object is in fact an article instance, then we're saying that we wanted to cast the object to an article and assign it to the article that variable. And the interesting part here is that that variable is in scope to the right of the conditional and operator. So you can see that we can access that variable, which is an article variable, to the right of the conditional and operator. Let's see another example. We have a simple method here that should print the object if the object is an instance of string. The interesting part here is that the s variable is in scope here at the bottom of the method. And why is that? Because if the code reaches this point, we're 100% sure that the object we got in the method is an instance of string. Because if it is not, we had already returned from the method, right? We can rewrite the previous method to this equivalent code, so maybe it's a little clearer. If the code execution reaches this point here, then for sure the object it's not a string. So if we're here, the s variable is not in scope. On the other hand, if the code execution reaches this point, then we're sure that the object we got is for sure a string. So the s variable is in scope here. That's what's called flow scoping, because the scope of these variable, it depends on the flow of the code execution. It depends on where the code execution ends up being in. So as a final example, let's run some code. I have this very simple program which uses the printIfString method. We call it 3 times, once with the flow string, then with the local date, and then with another string. So if we run it, we expected it to print flow and scoping, and we skip the local date. Cool, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and see you on the next one. Bye.